Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. I want to ask you a question. Does anybody have any goals or dreams for tomorrow's world? Excellent. That means I made it to the right room today. And I want to ask you another question. Does anybody wish they could have done something differently in their life? Yeah, me too. Now I want to ask you another question, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one. Have you ever had a decisive moment? A moment where you made a decision that transformed the trajectory of your life. See, your decisions determine your destiny. And tomorrow's world is built on today's thoughts. So I'm here to tell you about upgrading your IOP. Yes, your internal operating program. You see, Les Brown says that if you don't program yourself, then life's going to program you. And right now, you've been programmed. So I want you to realize that in this moment, that there's something bigger than you that you are able to connect to and use. Your IOP will help you to acknowledge who you are and where you're going. I remember my good friend Max telling me one day that, Amina, if you don't change, then change will change you. And at the time, I thought it was such a great message. But in hindsight, I didn't have the awareness to understand what he really meant. Until one day, I remember hearing those words echoing my mind. You see, there was a change that changed me. I was sitting at my best friend's bedside, and she was in hospital. She was fighting cancer at the time. And you see, I didn't realize that we were in the final stages. They told us they could only make her comfortable. But on that day, she was so uncomfortable. And as we sat around her, she called my name. There were over 30 people in that room. We didn't know anything about social distancing at that time. But she called my name. Her mother was there, her sisters were there, all her family. And she called my name. So I started to walk closer to her. And I did what I usually do. I started to breathe these words of affirmations over her. Janat, you are powerful. You are more than this moment. Janat, you are a conqueror. This too shall pass. Janat, you are unstoppable. There's nothing you can't overcome. And she just held my hand. And she just squeezed. And she said, Amina, you are more powerful than you know. And they fear the day you find out. And in that moment, I felt it. Something pierced and penetrated my mind, right to my subconscious. And I felt in that moment that this change was going to change me. And then she said, I love you. See, I didn't know those would be the last words Janat would say to me. And I remember feeling that fear, right? You see, they say it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. But I say it's better to have loved and learned. You see, I learned that Norman Cousins was right when he said that the greatest loss in life is not death. No. The greatest loss in life is what dies within us every single day. And I want to ask you, what is dying inside of you? What goals, what dreams, what ambitions have you denied yourself? You see, there'll be a change in your life that will come to change you. And I'm here to inspire you from a place of inspiration. Don't be like me and come to that place of desperation. And I know it's exciting to think that actually there's a possibility of something new, of something worth living for, to have a life that outlives you. But I'm here to tell you about the DAX cycle. And this is what I use. It's a 3-step system for serious people who want to change their life. Not just live their life, but have a life that outlives them. And it's a 3-step system. So you're going to want to write this down. Step number 1, define. You have to define who you want to be and where you're going. Because without a clear vision, you're never going to be able to actually go to that destination. You have to be able to say to your IOP, this is who I want to become. And where there is no vision, the people will perish. So I decided in that moment that I was going to make a decision, that I was going to reinvent myself and change who I was. I want you to say this with me. I define.
I define.
Yes, you define where your life is heading. And by the words that you are using, it will give you an intention and precision to where you will go. I want you to say, I declare.
I declare.
Yes, you declare that with imagination and persistence, that you will make a way where there is no way. And I want you to say, I decide. Yes, you decide. I'm holding you accountable now. I've seen these faces. You see, you are more powerful than you know. And the first step is to define what it is that you really want in life. John Maxwell said that life is a matter of choices. And each choice you make makes you. So ask yourself, what are the choices I'm making in my life today? Who am I becoming? And is this the person I want to be? You see, when Jeanette died, I realized that I've been playing small. And that's not just because of my height, right? That's because I was hiding. I was hiding in the shadows of other people. I was dimming my light. I was saying no when I really wanted to say yes. And I was holding back when I knew there was something more within me. So I had to reinvent Amina. I had to reinvent who I wanted to become. And every choice I made on that journey was about that process of that journey that I call know thyself, and to thine own self be true. And when I made that decision, I realized I needed to actually understand who I wanted to become. So the second step, and I want you to write this down, is to align. And what you have to align is your beliefs with your behavior. Don't just talk about it, actually be about it, right? Don't just be, I'm going to do this one day, because you know what? Tomorrow is not guaranteed. And we're here to build tomorrow's world, but they start with today's thoughts. So I had to align. I had to align to a new reality. I had to allow myself to dream, to build, to decide. And I want you right now to just open your heart and your mind to a new possibility of who you say I am to. I was reading this story the other day of Emma Schools, and she's a superhero mum. You might know someone who is just like that, or you might be one too. But she saved her 6 children from a burning building. And imagine waking up and hearing the desperate cries of your children. And you see, Emma woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a roaring fire around her, and she could hear her children running in the other room and screaming. So she got up and she ran to the other room, and she went to go and pick them up. And as she was walking, there was fire everywhere, and the thick smoke just started to choke her to the point she couldn't breathe. But she managed to get downstairs and put her boys downstairs, and she pushed them outside because she knew that being in the home would be worse for them. And even though it was painful and it was hard, she left them outside and said, Mummy's coming back, with no hope, with not knowing if she was coming back. And then she ran back up the stairs, and at this point, the whole staircase was on fire, and the soles of her feet had started to melt from the heat. But she was telling her other children, come to the balcony, Mummy's coming. And Emma made it up the stairs. And she made it to her children, to the balcony. And then she realized that her 10-month daughter was still in the bedroom. And she made a decision in that moment that she was going to go back in that house. And you see, her boys tried to stop her. And even though her mind was saying it's not possible, she pressed that override and said, it's possible. And she went back into that building, and she went back into that room, and she saw that her daughter was still under the duvet, as luck would have it. And she grabbed her daughter, covered her with her bare back because she didn't have anything else. And the fire at this point was so thick. There was smoke everywhere. And she was huddled, trying to save her under her clothes. And as she got back to the balcony, she just kept saying, "Mummy's coming home, Mummy's coming home." And she managed to make it just to the balcony. And she collapsed. You see, the average person won't survive 90% burns to the body. Emma survived 95% burns to her body because she was willing to believe in the I am possible. Not the impossible, no, the I am possible. And in that moment, she aligned her beliefs with her behavior. And she said, "I'm going to make a way." And she realized that that journey of 1,000 steps started with just one. Now, I'm not telling any of you guys to go into a burning building, but I do want you to start saying, "I am possible." It's possible for me. And now I want to tell you about the third step, which is to create. You're going to want to write this down. I see you making notes. Create. Well, what is it that we want to create? We want to create a larger vision for ourselves. To not operate from your history that keeps telling you you can't do this. To not operate from the stress or the anxiety that keeps holding you back. But to allow yourself to dream and build again. You see, I had to create a new vision for myself. And I had to really understand what is it I really wanted. And I started to create something that would outlive me. See, the day Jeanette died, I made a decision that I was going to live a life that outlives me. That I wasn't going to be in that final moment with that face of regret of what if I had just tried. So I want to inspire each and every one of you to move from that place of inspiration, not desperation. Jeanette's not here today, but I'm here. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible, that you are more powerful than you know. And they fear the day you find out. You see, in Somalia we say, "Aftin la'an wa la'an," which means that without knowledge, there is no light. I'm here to shine a light on someone today. And to say that your dreams are possible, that you can be, do, have anything that you want. Because you see, because I believed in the I am possible, I am now a #1 international best-selling author. I am now a global peace ambassador with the United Peace Federation. I am now a universal change activator. So you have 70,000 thoughts per day. And right now, in this moment, in this short time that we spent together, there was a new idea that started to emerge. See, I might not know you, but I know this about you. That there are some people, places, and spaces that you've outgrown. And it's time to start saying, "I am possible." You see, I'm still the same girl with the same name. I just have a new mindset and a different game. My name is Amina Inspires, and you're unstoppable. Thank you.